Shortbox Nation, a long time no see or talk or podcast or whatever the appropriate verb is. I don't have my usual crew of well-versed co-hosts to ridicule and correct me, so you'll just have to bear with me and my bad Cree grammar. This isn't the 200th episode you were expecting, but it's an important episode nonetheless. Free Comic Book Day. That's right, you heard me. Free Comic Book Day is upon us this Saturday, May 5th. And for a lot of us fanboys and fangirls, it is the best holiday in the nerd and geek culture, especially for us comic book heads that frequent any of the many local comic shops here in town. With the help of several incredible shop owners and friends, this episode will hopefully serve as a mini guide to some of the events, extensive sales, and community involvement taking place across town for Free Comic Book Day. I had a chance to sit with Britt Reckitt of Coliseum Comics Beach and Ben Kingsbury of the new Gotham City Limit Shop to talk about the importance of the day and what their shops are doing in celebration. This episode also includes some phone interviews with the owners of Mythical Mountain. Shout outs to Kathy and Jamie. House of Comics and Games. Big ups to Tony. Altered Egos Comic Shop. What's up, John? And Good Samaritan and attorney Obi Umana, who's throwing an event at the Highlands Public Library for the kids. Regardless of what shop you rep or align yourself with, everyone that's done Free Comic Book Day before knows this is a day that resembles more of an epic geek pub crawl than a regular weekend. Shout out to John Bates of Alter Ego Shop for that phrasing, by the way. Hopefully this episode helps you and your family map out your pit stops across town. And if you've never attended Free Comic Book Day, hopefully this will change your mind to make this year your first of many more to come. If you don't live in Jax, no worries, because Free Comic Book Day is a national event. There's actually a website dedicated to providing information on the event, the free comics available, and what shops are participating. Just go to freecomicbookday.com. We are in the works of wrapping up the final touches and editing to the 200th episode, and that will be available very soon. Thank you guys so much for your patience. This particular episode, though, will only be available on SoundCloud and YouTube, so we need your help to spread the word on some of the awesome events going on around town in celebration of Free Comic Book Day. Share this episode and some of the event pages of the particular comic shops and more on Facebook, Instagram, and everywhere else on social media. And don't forget to subscribe to the show, Shortbox Podcast, wherever podcasts can be found, whether that be on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, SoundCloud, or whatever your favorite podcast app is. Subscribe. And while you're at it, give us a rating, review, and spread the word to your favorite nerd, geek, fanboy, fangirl about us. You'll be hearing from us again very soon, Shortbox Nation. Thank you all for your patience and support. Without further ado, let's go and start the show. Ben, you brought up a good point. This was you and Brett's first time meeting each other, but there was already that camaraderie and that brotherhood because of the comic shops and the love of the culture. And that was my purpose for getting as many comic shops and owners and reps on this episode, because if there's one event that unites us all, it's definitely, I think, Free Comic Book Day. I think there's no other holiday or event in the comic shop or comic book culture that brings everyone, new readers, OGs, fanboys, Marvel heads, etc., the diehards and the casuals and novices, like Free Comic Book Day. And my thing's always been that I can go to any shop and there's never a sense of, well, you don't shop here, you shouldn't belong. It's always been like, oh, you like the culture? Come on through. Like, we'll take your money just as equal as anywhere else. So I'm glad that you and Brett had time to come out today and talk about some of the things going on with your shops come May 5th for Free Comic Book Day. I do want to take a step back because this could be anyone's first time listening. And Ben, I know you're new to the comic book shop scene here. Matter of fact, your store is actually grand opening is this Free Comic Book Day. So I wanted to go around the table, just tell us who you are, what you do, and then we'll jump into some of the topics I got. And Brett, if you want to reintroduce yourself as well, but I'll pass it to you, Ben.
Okay. Yeah, no, well, my name's Ben Kingsbury. I am the owner-operator of a Gotham City Limit now on Southside Boulevard. I purchased an old location called Gotham City Limits. And started a new location on January 2nd. And kind of been, the priority for me was to understand the business, figure out the polls, figure out how, ordering went down and what people are looking for. Obviously, for me, comics are a bloodline of what we got going on. But we wanted to be more than just a comic book store, so we brought in a lot of different, anything superhero or villain related, a couple pinball machines. I mean, really try to create a place that, like you said, comic book nerds, heads, whatever you want to call us, we all go hang out and see each other, and one person goes to one shop, then come to the other shop to check out what they got, and there is a certain camaraderie to it. So I'm a businessman. I used to own restaurants before this, but now it's I enjoy doing something that I'm passionate about, and no matter what you come in for, we have something in common, and I really enjoy that part. So,
and real quick, before we pass it on, Ben, I do want to say that I had heard about your shop before ever even meeting you or stepping in. I had heard that, and I got the Drew's stamp of approval, which is he's always got a very high bar when it comes to comic shop. He wants a comic shop to feel like a hangout spot, not so much a store. And that was one of the things he said when he stopped by and met you. He was like, "Hey, man, this reminds me of like when we were at the shop every Wednesday, like there for hours."
Isn't it cool how our generation now are kind of the decision makers? We get to put our influence because we're kind of the working generation at this point, our age group. And so everything we loved in the 80s and 90s, we get to bring back and make it popular.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's unbelievable. They're going to do an Injustice He-Man, crossover comic coming soon. And like to put a dark Superman with a He-Man in a comic is like a dream come true for me. I mean, my mother jokes that she can shop for my 8-year-old nephew and me at the same store, and I think that's awesome. I think it is fantastic. I can buy him Darth Vader rain boots, and I can have some, and we can go trouncing around outside and have the best time ever. And there's something that connects us over a generation, no matter who you are, what your skin color is, what your religion is, what you like. There's something kind of like that ability to connect.
Well put. Brett, this is not your first time on the Short Box. This isn't your first rodeo, period, when it comes to podcasting or whatnot. But I do want to give you a chance to reintroduce yourself because you are in a new role that pertains to Comic Shop, specifically in here in Jack. So, go ahead.
Yeah, my name is Brett. I am in a new role. I came not from a business background. I came from an education background. I used to be a teacher. And I've always loved comics. Ever since I was little, sadly, when I was growing up, the only place I can get comics were a Food Lion spinner rack. And I was just at the whims of what 8 comics they were allowed to get. And thank God Amazing Spider-Man was on there. And actually 2 Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man and Spider-Man, that run from the 90s were the only 2 that I really liked. DC wasn't a big thing. I don't know if they had it in the spinner rack. But I got into a new role here at the beach, almost a similar instance as Gotham City Limits and Gotham City Limit. We took over Superhero Beach, and they made Neil, the owner, made an offer to Coliseum and said, "Hey, I've got 2 stores in Jacksonville. Are you interested?" Phil took a look and he said, "Yeah, I'll take them up." And so now they have 2 locations, the one in the Riverside and one at the beach. And we've just moved the beach location from its old store at 11th Avenue North to 7th Avenue South, and redesigned the place. It's got a very neat, like, speaking like 80s, it's got a very neat, like, 80s, thin, long comic book rack. It's just like, it goes forever. Not very wide, but goes forever. And then the back issues on the side, like, it's memory lane. So one half of my store, I go through and I'm just like, oh my God, here's everything. Yeah. Here's everything I used to have or sold or what have you. And it's just so nice to like go back in there and work. So working there, having those on the wall makes the Tuesdays a little easier to go down when the truck comes in.
Right. Nice. So look, before we go into business, I think the one topic that's been on everyone's mind, whether you're a comic book fan, a movie fan, or just just someone that enjoys going to the cinemas, Avengers: Infinity War that came out this past weekend. Brett, I know you said you haven't seen it. You're catching it tonight.
Yes, I am.
Ben, you've seen it.
I have.
I want to avoid spoilers, but I just had some questions because Ben, I think you had said it prior to us hitting record, is how much impact the MCU and these movies, period, have had on comic shop sales. Maybe the emergence of just the culture itself, but has the movie had any impact prior or even now after it's been out? On sales, or just how many people are coming in, checking out things? Are there any titles people are looking for specifically, Ben?
Well, yeah. I mean, look at this. They're rebooting. Marvel is doing a dual number, legacy coming up, but they're rebooting a number of titles for one reason, because Iron Man's popular again. I mean, Iron Man was a secondary fringe superhero before, Downey Jr. kind of made him mainstream. And so now if you look at the new Iron Man comic that's coming out, it looks like Robert Downey Jr.
And that's been for a while.
No. And Daredevil the same way. I was never a Daredevil fan. Specifically, I love Frank Miller. But, as far as reading Daredevil consistently, no. But since the Netflix kind of reinvented the character, the coolness aspect of him, it's been fantastic, man. I've really enjoyed the comics. So, like I said before, my sister's going. And that doesn't seem like a lot, but if that's the idea. They don't make those movies for us because they know we're going.
Yep, they already got my money.
They could make the worst movie of all time, and I'm there. They make it for my mom and my sister, and if they show up, then you know that you've crossed over into something else.
And it's funny you brought up the whole sister thing, because my sister ended up. She was never into like the comic books or Dragon Ball Z or any of the other stuff that we were so passionate about. She was like the cool sister. She was into fashion, music, etc. But now, she's been the opening night for the past 3 Marvel movies, Black Panther and Avengers. Has gotten super into them. She's looking up conspiracy theories, like when the next one's coming out. So you're right. It's not for us. That's why I can never understand how fanboys can be so sometimes negative about portrayals of these movies. Like, guys, you've read the source material, and they've done their best to, stick fan service us as well, but it's not for us at this point. They're trying to get new readers in shops or in the butts in theaters and whatnot. So, Brett, what about at your store? Have you seen any increased traffic when it comes to Avengers titles, or people coming in the shops that haven't ever stepped foot in one?
Oh yeah. Anytime that, and this is. Avengers hasn't been any different from really like Black Panther or Thor. Anytime that they come out, I see an influx. As you just said, the movies are for other people. I see an influx of new people come in every single time because they're going to check out. They want to see that source material. Where did this come from? Or, what was the story? How's it like? I want to see the book.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, oh, wait a minute. There was a book about this? When people say, "Oh, there's a book before the movie," type of deal. Yeah. And so they want to come check it out. What was it here? And Marvel's done a really good job here recently, because they're usually, as we said, they're not usually proactive. They're usually really reactive on things, but they've been proactive with Thanos. They've been proactive with the Venom movie and Black Panther, because they've been doing a lot of this True Believer line. Yeah. And they're the $1 one-shots. Here's a couple, some of them are single issues, some of them are multiple issues of key characters, just to get your foot in the door, to kind of say, oh, wow, this is what it was. And I actually like them. I see them as a very as a cheap trade paperback for me, because the quality is really good.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, they're fantastic. They're $1.
They're $1.
You can, and that's funny. You were mentioning about how fanboys, or whatever you want to call, the people that love this stuff, get so upset by the movie. And you can tell, I think, if I listen to an interview or I listen to a review. I mean, because if you've read Infinity Gauntlet, you kind of know how this thing's going already.
Yes.
Right? So then the people that are just super stunned obviously have never been introduced to this stuff. Because for me, it was like, I just love the fact that they're making the Infinity Gauntlet a real movie with action heroes in it, right?
Yeah.
But I knew what was coming before I saw it. I mean, yes, there were a couple moments in there, absolutely, that you don't know specifically how they're going to tell the story. But they did an amazing job of making Thanos not a villain, but almost like an anti-hero, where there's probably some people who left the theater were like, hey, man, he was onto something. And so that's really where they've kind of crossed this line, where you're saying Venom. Deadpool. I mean, now they're making R-rated movies that are, right up our alley that I couldn't be more happy about. So I think that's kind of the cool part about it.
For me, when I end up watching these movies, it definitely reignites something where I want to go back to the old source material. So after Infinity War, I ended up reading Thanos Quest, and I was catching things I didn't catch before. And then I just restarted rereading Infinity Gauntlet, which I'm sure we've all read these years ago. So some of the key details might be a little foggy. But what I like to do now is the source material in the movie, not from a nitpicky standpoint, but just more well, why did they change this in the movie? You know, was it a conscious decision because it just wouldn't translate well? Because you got to keep in mind, like we said, their goal isn't to entertain the diehard fanboys, but more so, you know, making an enjoyable movie for families. So I kind of like to see. All right, well, I can see why they changed it. This wouldn't translate well. Like, this is only for Marvel heads. You know, this is only for like readers. So, Free Comic Book Day. It's May 5th. If you've never been to a free comic book day, I'm hoping by the time you listen to this episode, you'll decide to step foot in one of these, and the several shops that we have in town. When I made the list of like all the shops I want to have on the show, I was like, damn, we got a shop in this area? Yeah. So it feels like if you live in Jacksonville, no matter where you live, Atlantic, Mandarin, Southside, Riverside, wherever there is a shop, you know,
well, Jacksonville's huge,
absolutely.
Right? I mean,
really
it's like 4 different cities in one city.
Yep.
So, you know, there's not really. That's one of the reasons it still has a South Georgia feel to it. You know, as an outsider, I mean, I love this city. Absolutely, we have a professional sports team. It's growing exponentially, having land, etc. But that is, you know, it has that feel. What you're talking about. So, you know, the ability to kind of go anywhere you want, and find what you want. That's a key aspect in a growing city for sure.
And I know a lot of readers now that started their journey into, you know, their love of comic books and these stories by Free Comic Book Day, and that's why I decided that we needed an episode to highlight what's going on. And we just had Infinity Wars, the movie, come out, so I think it's perfect timing. So I wanted to ask you guys, what are your shops doing for Free Comic Day? Because when it comes to Free Comic Day, not only do you have a set inventory of actual free comics that you can go in, get, you know, a few copies of, but there's usually really good sales going on. So I just wanted to kind of pick your brains, see what your shops are doing. Brett, I know that you right now are the sole representative for Coliseum Comics, but you've got 2 shops on your back right now when it comes to Jacksonville. So let me know if there is any difference between the Riverside location or Beach. But if you just want to specifically speak to the Beach location, that's fine too.
Yeah, I'll probably have to just do that. Don't put that responsibility on me, Ricky Bobby. It's too much. No, Riverside. Jonathan over there just handles everything. He's really just spot on. If you are on the Riverside area or you're over here, go to the shop. It's magnificent. They did a remodel of their store, opened up the wall, so it's even farther down the rabbit hole than it was before. And he's got tons and tons of stuff. So I really enjoy actually going over to their shop, and I can say, actually, we'll probably go over there after this podcast.
Word.
And say, hey. But for us, what we're doing is, of course, we have the Free Comic Book Day lineup, and because it's our new location, which I'm very thankful for, there's a lot more parking, which was always it's always a premium at the beach. So trying to find someplace to park for here is crazy. So we used to orchestrate a shuttle, and I think we're still doing that this year. We're orchestrating a shuttle between the Jacksonville Beach Library and our store. So it's kind of like a little Beaches Comic Con. There's going to be a whole bunch of cosplayers, writers, artists. I believe the artist for Sonic the Hedgehog actually is going to be down at the library.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I know his name is killing me.
He's been on the show too.
Yep, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
From the 3 of us, we can't think of it right now. It tells you it might be a morning show, right? It might be a morning show.
So he's going to be there. There's going to be so many things for everyone of all ages. There's definitely exclusives. I mean, if you don't like comics, or comics are not your thing, or maybe that's, you might put your toe in it. There's also Free Comic Book Day exclusive Funko Pops. All sorts of other great like pop culture knickknacks from every corner that will be available on that day. So I think it's a really awesome day to get in, just to see, just to go take a
part
trip.
Of.
Yeah,
100%. The worst part for me, honestly, is that I don't get to go to every shop and say hi. I mean, that's the one thing. Hopefully, maybe a year from the line, right now, down the line, I can get to the point where I can start going and enjoying everything. But right? We put so much. Everything takes effort, no matter what you do. Yeah. You post in a podcast or you're running a store, so it's kind of one of those things. When you get an opportunity, you go check that stuff out for sure.
And I'm sorry, I just want to say real quick, Jonathan Bates of Altered Egos Comic Shop over there in Orange Park. I think I was talking to him about this, and Free Comic Book Day and all that, and he had the best phrase for it. He said it's like a nerd pub crawl, because so many people even if you have a subscription at, Coliseum, you're still going to go to Gotham City Limits. You're going to go to Mythical Mountain. You're going to hit up all these shops for the sales.
It's our Black Friday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It really is.
really
and that's
is.
and you know what's even great about this one is the day before is Star Wars Day, right? May 4th.
Yep.
So then we get a release of another movie. It is constantly it is a lot going on, but like you said, it is our day. It's our day to shine.
I'm glad you said quite a few things that I really liked. To kind of jumped in here is that it's a pub crawl. There's so many different places that you can go. It was the one time that I would go just check out the stores.
Right.
Like I would solely go on Free Comic Book Day. I get the free comics and that's fine. But I would only really want one or two personally. And then the rest of it was like, let's go check out the shop, see what's going on. And then when you said Star Wars, another thing that Coliseum's doing because they're all over Florida is they're doing a I hope I don't get in trouble saying this because this is under the wraps, but it's coming out on Free Comic Book Day, so you're going to find about it here in like 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, something like that. They're doing their first ever Kessel Run.
Oh, is that the bar pub crawl, like Star Wars themed bar pub crawl?
That's the Kessel Run was the run that the Millennium Falcon did.
It went on, right,
Yeah.
right.
And so what they're doing is, instead of starting on Free Comic Book Day, the whole month of May, if you visit a different store and you get a stamp.
Oh, cool.
So all the way from like
Fun.
Jacksonville to
no
Tampa.
way.
So you just
that's
go
cool.
explore Florida, go take a day, and especially now you got the whole month of May. They got some really cool things, to give you an awesome gift certificate, and then if you visit all of them, they'll give you your own medal of Yavin.
How awesome.
Wait, all the comic shops?
Yep, all the.
And then I'll tell you what, in a month, someone will be selling it on eBay.
yeah, oh yeah, oh,
All right. I mean, they're already selling the
they'll be
Avenger
hawking capital.
right from the movie. I'm like, what are we?
baby.
I know they, Free Comic Book Day. When this is obviously my first as a shop owner, but when I got the letter that said I'm not allowed to sell it online until the following Monday, I'm
Yep.
like, people are selling Free Comics America. It really is an unbelievable thing. So.
Time out. Where can you get this Kessel Run spreadsheet?
So the spreadsheet you can get it at
Or
any,
the list, I'm sorry.
the list you can get them at any Coliseum of Comics. So as soon as you go in there, we give you a map.
Okay, got it.
And
got it.
what I love, so everyone's got a different planet, and what I love is Jack Speech has got Tatooine
That's
because we're
awesome.
so far out in the outer rim.
Yeah. So it's
and
perfect.
we're on the beach. There's
Works
sand.
great. Yeah,
It's-
yeah.
Oh, it's fantastic.
That is
When
dope.
I saw
It is.
that, I
It
was
is
like,
well thought
thanks.
out, right? Yeah, that's awesome. How fun.
Shout out. Okay, cool. Ben, what do you got for free? Because
Well, so yeah, it's my grand opening,
Yeah, I was about to say,
right?
that's
I've been
a big
open
deal.
for 3 months, so people are like, grand opening. I'm
Yeah.
like, well, yeah,
How does that
because
work?
it's a natural kind of way to introduce myself to Jacksonville.
Mm-hmm.
We still get a lot of people that come in. I bought the phone number so that if people from the old shop were looking
Cool.
for it, they could find me. So there is, even though I am brand new and it feels like a fresh start, we still have people that have visited in this area before. But for me, it's the grand opening. So we really wanted to just kind of introduce ourselves. We've been, I've been working on the place for the last 3 months for that. Obviously, we're having huge sales. Star Wars Day, 25% off all Star Wars stuff. Saturday, it'll be 20% off everything in store just for that Saturday. Obviously, the huge amount of comics that we have going on. But that's the cool part about this. You come get a couple free comics if you want. I sold Batman Beyond Beanie yesterday, in the middle of, April weather in Florida. So...
What's Batman Beyond? It's Harry McGinnis. Come
Yeah,
on.
exactly. It's the greatest thing ever. But we've got PlayStation is coming in with their virtual reality system. They've got the Spider-Man game they're promoting. So they're going to have their Spider-Man VR, bags of swag, PlayStation swag. We've got another Oculus Rift VR station. So we're going to have 2 VR stations set up for fun, pinball tournaments. We've got a Pac-Man and Galaga machine. So we'll be doing that. We'll be doing raffles. I've got Thomas Tenney from Marvel, DC, Image, comic book artist. Mark Fenton, a local writer who's doing a new comic book series starting in the fall called Down. They're both going to be in. And then, besides that, it's just going to be a party, a celebration of, what it is that we love so much.
Question: when do these festivities start? Are you guys doing normal store hours for Saturday? And if so, what are those hours?
Yeah, I was gonna say I believe I do normal store hours that day, and it should be like 11 to 8.
11 to 8.
Yeah,
What about you,
and
Ben?
our normal store hours are 11 to 8, but we'll be getting started at about 10 a.m.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll be there.
Yeah. Isn't it
much
funny?
earlier.
People say, "What are the hours?" And I'm in there at 9:30 at night. The lights are on. I haven't locked the door. Someone comes in. They're like, "Are you closed?" And I'm like, "No, I'm here." Right?
Dude,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Yeah, exactly. So,
When I
but
used-
yeah, 10 a.m. is about when the party's getting started.
Cool. So, speaking about Free Comic Book Day, there is a website for Free Comic Book Day, and they have a catalog of all the comics that are available at these shops. And I was going to ask, what are some of the shops some of the comics that you guys have had a chance to look at any of them, or do you guys have any recommendations as far as like what free comic books you guys are excited about? Because I'm looking at it right now, and I forgot that the new Avengers series that they're
With
relaunching.
Spider-Man?
The Spider-Man
Yeah.
of Ryan Otley is going to be fantastic. That's on my radar. But Jason Aaron and Ed McGuinness are together for the new relaunch of the Avengers stories, or the Avengers comic series. So, is there any other free comic book day offerings that you guys are excited about or would recommend people check out? Because some of those free comic book days issues, like you said, either sell for a lot, surprisingly, like a free
Well,
comic
they've
book.
started tying them in, right? I
Yep,
mean,
and
this
they'll
is
tie 'em.
obviously, I'm
Yep,
a little
yep.
new to this, but it seems like they're using this comic as a jumping off point for a lot of different stories.
And that's what they normally do, is because, like you said, in May we get Free Comic Day, and there's usually a movie tied in
Right.
for that release. Avengers would have been this, but they released
Right.
it a week early. So Free Comic Book Day, I mean, it's all a great marketing, strategy. Put out a movie, people get interested. Oh, well, here's a free comic book
On
about
it.
the new series we're about to relaunch. So, what are some of the other titles that are coming out?
Oh God! Well, titles there's so many.
Yeah, there
But
is.
what I would really do, what I would recommend anyone doing, take Free Comic Book Day to get out of your comfort zone. Take Free Comic Book Day to go and grab comics that you would normally never get. Grab the ones that you love, but grab some stuff that just looks cool.
That is a really
whatever
good piece of advice.
Yeah, whatever feels good to you, go there and grab it. Explore, find out stuff that you don't ever really read, and expand your horizons on reading and enjoying new artists, new writers. There's talent all over the place, and we end up missing it. But Free Comic Book Day, I think, is a great job to kind of just expand your really comic book repertoire. So find stuff that just draws to you.
Somewhere Cesar is listening to this and he's sneering because he's like, "Yeah, Botter, it's not all about Marvel." So, Brett, congrats on that. And you're right, because it's not just the big two or even just Image coming out free comics. It's like all of these indie publishers, Vertigo, Dark. Every comic book publisher will have some offering. And if I had to take a step out of my comfort zone, I might have to check out this Mighty Morphin Power Rangers comic book that's coming out,
It's
because I've
been
heard
fire
nothing
for-
but
yeah.
fantastic things about this series.
Well, the Shattered Grid storyline that they've done has created this popularity where, I mean, it's funny in the comic book world, but stuff out of nowhere, all of a sudden, everybody has to get one. You can't find one in town 10 minutes after
Yep.
it's out, et cetera, et cetera. But, like Brett was saying, that's some of the best stuff that I have read recently is independent stuff. Even going back to, like, if you had told me before Marvel Universe had successfully succeeded in making a cinematic universe, I would have told you Valiant Universe would have been a better place to try to make a movie universe out of. And from Ninjak, which is kind of like a Tom Cruise Mission Impossible ninja, to Exo Man of War, Bloodshot, the new Shadow Man, the Valiant Universe has just been phenomenal. They got that Harbinger Wars
love
coming
Harbinger.
up, and it brings all the characters in. They're really smart about what they're doing. They did that Ninjak versus the Valiant Universe, which introduced all of the characters basically in one 6-part ongoing series right now.
It's definitely the superhero universe that I recommend to anyone that just doesn't have time for all of the Marvel relaunches or the massive history.
You just wanted to try something else.
Exactly.
I mean, everything from George Lucas down to like The Matrix, right? Brie Larson reading old Captain Marvel comics to try to. If you're an aspiring writer, an aspiring filmmaker, I mean, listen, you want to go into any kind of business. We're talking about like, genres that cross over. You get ideas from everything you do in life, right? So, you can definitely tell where George Lucas got his kind of ideas for Star Wars from, some of the previous stuff that he was involved in. So, like he said, that's a great time to just grab one and read something you never read before. And that's the other part about comics. You can do that anytime because they're $2.99 or $3.99 a piece, and they're like a mini TV episode. Cut Comcast out of your life, pick up 15 comic books a week, and you'll never watch another TV show again. That's really...
I haven't. I literally haven't had a TV that I've watched on a consistent basis since the 20th
anything
century.
that you can stream live, anything that I can get off Netflix or Hulu or one of those things, I'll watch some TV shows, Altered Carbon, some stuff that reminds me of some... But now I'm reading. The Hunt for Wolverine was fantastic. Great storyline. Even the Infinity Countdown stuff they've been doing recently, I was actually impressed with how good it was.
I was really impressed of the Avengers No More. A weekly comic to be produced with that quality, because usually when you get a weekly comic, I'm like, oh, here we go, here comes the
and the fact they've actually put it out weekly is another coup.
Consistently,
Mark Waid,
do it for this
Mr.
long.
Consistent. Mark Waid is the most consistent comic book writer to me ever.
They've been killing it every single week. I'm picking it up and I'm like, this is phenomenal.
I did not know it was up to part 13. I went to a shop and I was like, oh, try it right now, and he was like, that's part 13. I said, holy shit, I thought it just came out.
Every week. I think it's 15 now.
It's like 15 or 16.
It's only confined to one title, right?
No Surrender, I think,
No
right?
Surrender,
Right.
right.
And no, it's like you said, it's been awesome. It's a great thing. You want to... That's the idea. What's funny is you were talking about where you used to get your comics from, and when I was growing up, I used to caddy on the weekends just to have money to go buy comics at my shop. And back then, there were baseball card comic book stores, right? If you went to them, it was a huge thing. But they told you never, you were like, oh, no, you got to get a comic book from the comic book store. You don't want that newsstand edition, right? You don't want that newsstand edition. That's not the good kind. And now it's the most valuable kind you can find. It's hysterical. So I tell people all the time, just grab it where you can, read it. But, it's funny how, all your newsstand editions, right?
Man.
Now your newsstand edition spawn that nobody wanted in the 90s.
Beat me to it. I was on Reddit and I saw someone post like the difference between the regular and the newsstand is a couple $100.
$200.
Ridiculous, man.
Yep. Just because it's more valuable, and just weren't as many because we were all told by comic book snobs, don't you buy that from that grocery store, So at least they've gone back to the point where it's pre-order now, so they'll survive because that's all I really care about. Because it's been kind of funny that Marvel has had themselves all kind of upset about the fact that they were a bad business and they had to sell the rights to their amazing characters to movie theaters or movie producers, right? And then they got upset that they wouldn't just give them Fantastic Four back or just give me X-Men back. Like, no, we paid good money for that. Why would we do that? And so then, we haven't had a Fantastic Four comic in 3 or 4 years.
And the only people who suffered were us.
We're us. We're the people who want to read it. Like, give it to me. What are you talking about? Like, my mom doesn't care if she doesn't even know what Fantastic Four is. So why are you intentionally destroying your mythology?
Marvel 2-in-1s with Thing.
Really good.
Just
Great, though.
flying. Yeah, and they've been flying off.
So
Like, I
good.
cannot hold on to them.
Yeah.
I'm like,
The
hey,
Darth Vader, right? So we've got the Venom. We've got how popular Thanos is as kind of this anti-hero Avengers Infinity War thing. This new second volume of Vader, just give me the movie of him hunting Obi-Wan throughout the entire universe for 2 hours. Because even in A New Hope, which is originally our first Star Wars movie, right? The fact that Obi-Wan is just alive, hanging out on a planet, hidden somewhere, Vader must think he's dead, right? Or he would never stop hunting him. Vader would blame him for everything that's ever happened to him. So there's got to be a story that you could make a movie of, basically him hunting, becoming Vader like he is, getting a kyber crystal and infecting it and making his own thing and becoming the bad guy that he is. But, Obi-Wan must have, fake his death. How does he get off of Vader's radar? Because that would, to me, be his driving force in everything that he does.
I just want to say, listeners, I've said this before, but the current Darth Vader series by Charles Seal and, I can never say that dude's name right, but Kamen Kella.
Yep.
Another consistent team and, consistently freaking good.
As good as it
God,
gets.
it's
I mean,
so
you know, I mean, I have a problem or a hobby, if you want to call it, with comic books.
Straight hobby.
But,
It's a hobby.
there's 5 that I read when they come out that night, and Star Wars Darth Vader is right at the top of my list. I can't wait. I'm like I'm binging it, you know, as much as I can.
Mine used to be Southern Bastards, but now it's like every 6 months. I'm like, all right, I can finally read one issue of Southern Bastards.
Yeah, Oblivion Song has started to do that for me, only because from what I read, Robert Kirkman in a couple interviews, it's going to get real deep and complex. And, you know, my history of this kind of stuff are kind of like these type of ideas, X-Files, Lost, you know, kind of these. I want to get deep. I want to be in comic book characters. I want stuff that I haven't thought of. You know, I want someone to shock me.
Yeah.
Agreed. Guys, we're getting to our end point, but man, it felt good to flex the old comic book talk muscles.
Well, we are. I mean, it's like you said, it's so cool. It's a time to do it because, you know, whether or not you like statues or comics or reading or, you know, clothing or apparel, whatever it is, we cross a lot of genres. And you can tell just from the energy of the 3 of us just talking and how much we enjoy this stuff that there's something to it. You know, it's put me in a place where I am now for sure. So
and like I said, you guys have definitely inspired me to maybe do a series on the short box.
Man, you bring some espresso in here, I'll come every Monday morning, all right? You just give me some coffee and let's make this happen.
Listeners,
all right?
listen, I know about 90% of our listeners already are aware of Free Comic Book Day. They probably already have plans, but this is for that 10% that might be joining us for the first time that aren't big comic book heads or etc. I'm telling you right now, Free Comic Book Day is so accessible for anyone. It's fun. You could bring your kids. It's family friendly. There's free stuff like that.
Jacksonville is Jacksonville. We love free.
Absolutely.
So yeah, we're going to be on it. So
our motto has always been the struggle is real, and the Free Comic Book Day is the answer to that. So look. Go out, support your local shops. There is plenty to choose from. There is no negative stigma if you're associated with one. If you got a subscription somewhere else, all are welcome. And if you see Ben, like you said, it's his grand opening at Gotham City Limits. Stop by, say hi to Brett. Stop by any of the many shops: Mythical Mountain, House of Cards and Games. Altered Egos, and the list could really go on. If you pull up in your Google search comic shops, you'll get that whole list. But Ben, Brett, thank you guys so much.
No, Ben, a pleasure. Really is. It's really cool to meet everybody.
Thank you for having us.
May 5th, Free Comic Book Day. Check it out, folks. Thank you. Hey, Kathy.
Hey, yeah. Hey, how are you?
Good. Can you hear me fine?
I can.
Awesome.
Can you hear me?
Awesome. Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. You're sounding good.
Okay, cool.
Fantastic. Kathy, I got the recorder going, so we'll just go ahead and jump in. I wanted to ask real quick, have you and Jamie and your son seen Avengers yet?
Sean has. Jamie and I have not.
Ooh. Because I imagine that has been the talk of the shop lately.
Yes, it is. It absolutely has. We're hoping to sneak away sometime today or tonight to see it, but not sure yet.
So how's the reception been? And I mean, has it had any impact to your shop and the sales? Or at least what people's buying. How about that?
We definitely haven't seen an increase of people interested in Thanos.
I bet.
Especially with children. Had a couple children come in yesterday and, do you have anything Thanos? And it's just like a renewed interest in that character. He's always been very, popular with adults, but the children,
absolutely.
Yeah, definitely interested in adults.
And it's kind of crazy and cool at the same time, because, like you said, Thanos has always been like a very a niche villain for like serious comic book fans to like. So to see him, or its posters, commercials, and then the popularity of such a dark character at that, it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting. So.
Kathy, I wanted to take a step back and allow you to introduce yourself and the name of your shop, because I think this is the first time we've had representation from your shop on the show. So this is exciting for us.
Yeah, thanks so much for inviting us. My name is Kathy. I am the co-owner of Mythical Mountain, and with my husband Jamie. So we have been open for about 4 years. So, and we're located in Mandarin off of San Jose Boulevard.
Which I think when you guys first opened up, we did have Candy to represent for the Mandarin MiniCon. Which, I mean, you guys have thrown some successful Mandarin MiniCon, I think, every year, right? Since you guys have been open?
Yes, we have. We started right after we opened, in collaboration with Candy and Three Muses when she owned her shop. And we've been doing it every year, twice a year, except for this year we're going down to one a year. Just having it in September 22nd.
You know what? That might explain why it always felt like I was always like, wait a minute, didn't we just do it last year? Or I was always like, man, I thought we already did it. But I know for a fact that those are always the talks among my friends and fellow comic book fans and just pop culture, nerd culture here in Jax. So, and they've always been successful. I know that you guys even had what was it, News for Jax, or one of these local news companies do a write up on Mythical Mountain and what you guys were doing.
So, yes, we've been written up for both Mythical Mountain and Mandarin MiniCon has been in the news as well. So,
So the reason why I've got you on the phone on this gorgeous Sunday, the weather has been phenomenal, and I'll try to make it quick, but there's another really big event that I'm sure will have a more direct impact to your store, and that's, I think, without a doubt, all comic book fans and fans of comic shops' favorite holiday of the year, Free Comic Book Day, is coming up next Saturday, what is that, May 5th? That's right?
Yes.
May 5th, Free Comic Book Day, everyone's favorite holiday, and I'm sure a very troublesome and sometimes a headache for comic shop owners. I know there's a lot of planning on your end and just setting things up, the events, orders, etc.
Yes, it is. It's a lot of fun, though. It is probably our biggest event of the year, even more so than Mandarin MiniCon, which always surprises us. But it brings in a lot of new people to the because it's promoted nationally as well, and you can go to your comicbookshoplocator.com and find out which comic book shops are participating. So it really introduces a lot of new fans. It surprises me. This has been going on for several years, but it surprises me how many people still are not even aware of it. And, people come into the store and we tell everybody, don't forget it's Free Comic Book Day. And they're like, well, what is that?
And they just start grabbing random comics. You're like, no, not all the comics.
Not all the comics.
Just a little bit, yeah.
So with that, there is about, we have about 50 comics that will be available to give away. And they are absolutely free. No purchase necessary.
Fantastic. So usually around this holiday, like you said, the shops get an inventory of select free comic books, but I know the best part about our comic shops here in Jax is that it seems that every comic shop has unique sales, or they've got something going on around the same time. I know it's more like a party, like a block party vibe. That's always the vibe I've gotten to at the shops I've gone to for Free Comic Book Day. So I was wondering if you could talk about what sales or things you guys, Mythical Mountain, has going on for Free Comic Book Day.
We have quite a few things because we love to make it a big event, and we love to get the community involved as well. So we will have local artists and vendors set up. We have about 18 vendors that are going to be coming and setting up outside and selling their geeky wares and products. And we will also be, we're going to do store-wide 15% off everything in the store.
What?
But yes.
Holy moly.
So, good way to save some money as well. And then we're also going to be setting up for the first time for Free Comic Book Day our own sidewalk sale, where we will have some items available, some clearance items available for up to 50% off, some items as well as $1 and 50-cent comics to flip through as well.
Holy moly. Kathy, one of our slogans for the show is the struggle is real. So we're always championing and making announcements on just ways comic book fans and just fanboys, fangirls can save money. And I think you just did like my job for me.
Well, that's our goal. We're always looking for ways to, for people to get the best bang for their buck. So,
and that's what I like about your shop, you, Jamie, and Mythical Mountain as a whole, you guys have always had a really good understanding and relationship with the community. And it's anytime I go in there, you guys always have a sale going on, or you guys are highlighting like an artist, etc. So I do appreciate that you guys are always looking out for the people in your community, and with these sales, and just having other people involved in your shop and the things that you guys do. I think it's definitely applaudable.
Well, thank you. We really enjoy getting everybody involved and being, offering something for everybody, and kind of being, a comfortable shop for families and children and women and geeks, and just something that everybody can find a home
Absolutely.
in our shop.
And I think your location over there in Mandarin is so ideal. I remember when I had heard the rumors and then the news that you guys opened up, I just remember thinking, damn, that's perfect. Like now a comic shop, there's a comic shop in every large part of Jax, or every like part of Jax that you would want one in. So kudos on just having that Mandarin market on lock, man.
So, well, thank you. We hope to be a Mandarin for a long time to come.
Me too. So one more time, you guys have got 50% off sales. You got sidewalk sales. You guys will have vendors set up as well. So it's kind of like a Mandarin mini-con in its own way.
Kind of, yes. It's and it's kind of funny because with the first free comic book day we did was just us, and we just put out the comics and wasn't really expecting. And then after that, our local artists and our vendors started coming to us and being like, "Can we set up?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" And it's just kind of grown. So, we were looking at the vendor list this morning, and even Jamie was surprised. He's like, "We've got 18 vendors set up," and I'm like,
"Holy moly, you guys got a small comic or a convention going on. That's cool."
Yeah, so
awesome.
we also are going to have Bandy's Delight food truck that's going to be there as well. So
nice.
Grab a bite to eat, or they have these delicious Stroop waffles.
Oh my God, they got Stroop. I love Stroop waffles.
Yeah,
Stroop waffles are legit. Oh God,
so it's a really fun day.
It sounds like for sure. You could honestly spend your whole day on that side of town. That sounds awesome.
So,
Kathy,
and of course the comics. We've got some really cool titles coming out for Free Comic Book Day: Avengers and Pokemon and Nightmare Before Christmas. A lot of popular.
Those are good ones that you named. Because I was going to ask, are there any that you'd recommend for both like new readers and maybe like family friendly? Because I know a lot of parents will bring their kids to those, so they're always looking for like the kid friendly books. But it sounds like you said I forgot about the Pokemon Free Comic Book Day, and then you said the Nightmare Before Christmas too?
Yeah, I believe there's a Nightmare Before Christmas. There's Disney Princess for the girls, and DC Superhero Girls is always popular. And then there's a Shattered Grid tie-in with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, which has been a huge hit, which is a new arc with Mighty Morphin. So there's a Shattered Grid title coming out.
Drew and I went to a comic shop in Orlando, and the owner there was talking highly about how this Mighty Morphin Power Rangers book has been flying off his shelf.
Yeah, we can't keep it in stock. I don't know if anybody can. It's been crazy.
That is awesome to hear.
And then there's DC Nation #0 is coming out, which is a new story from DC. So that's going to be really popular.
Yeah, usually for Free Comic Book Day is definitely the time to get those two, especially for the big two, Marvel and DC. They normally put out that one key book that's going to set the rest of their summer and going forward up. So I highly recommend for anyone listening to grab at least one of those.
So, yes. One other thing that we're doing as well, speaking of one, the comics are limited, usually to about 3 to 4 that we will be allowing people to pick up, just so that we have enough for everybody. Mm-hmm. But we also always like to partner with Extra Life Jacksonville. Mm-hmm. And they are going to be here as well, and everybody can get additional copies of the Free Comic Book Day titles by donating $1 per title to Extra Life.
That is great. Awesome.
So we've been doing that for the past few years, and it's very successful.
Awesome.
And it's nice to be able to support a
really good cause.
A really good cause.
Yeah. And for anyone that's not aware of the Extra Life charity organization, I think we've had them on almost like a couple years ago. But the gist of it is they donate to children's hospitals, and I know they normally throw a big charity event every year where they do like a 24-hour gaming a drive. So it's awesome to see that they haven't limited themselves to that just one day, that they're at these shops and these events trying to get donations.
So yes, they are an absolute great group to work with, and we're happy to partner with them and help them out as much as we can.
That sounds fantastic. Listeners, if you haven't been to Mythical Mountain over there in Mandarin, I know, Kathy, and help me out here. I know you guys are on Facebook. I know that people can just Google Mythical Mountain and it'll pop up. But just for the ease of things, what's the address?
It is 11570 San Jose Boulevard in Jacksonville.
Awesome. So, listeners, definitely make your pit stop through Mythical Mountain. Sounds like they've got some great sales. There'll be a ton of vendors. Sounds like a mini convention, like I said. And they got Extra Life Charity going on. So that's always a great cause to donate some of your money to and whatnot. So, Kathy, thank you so much for the information. I definitely can't wait to stop by Mythical Mountain again soon. And, yeah, thank you so much for, representing and having the shop and doing what you guys do over there.
Well, thank you so much, and we appreciate your support, and you're inviting us to do this podcast, and
Absolutely.
Whatever you need, just let us know.
Great.
We're here for you.
Thank you so much, Kathy. I'll talk to you later, all right?
All right. Thanks, Father.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, Obi, can you hear me?
Yep. How are you?
Good, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, man, thanks for calling such short notice. I really appreciate the effort and just give me a shot.
No, so you guys are the Short Box Podcast. How long have you guys been doing this podcast for?
Since 2012.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You guys are veterans.
We like to think so, but you know how it is, man. It's not until that 3-4 year mark that you actually start, really getting the hang of things.
Seeing that,
yep,
right?
the
Knowing
vision.
that you're around and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hey, help me out. How do you say your last name? Is it Umana?
Umana.
Okay, Obi Umana.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. All right. Hey, man, and like I was saying, Ryan has steadily told me about the things that you were doing in the community. Especially, I had seen some of your posts and your name floating around among some mutual friends of ours when the Black Panther screening was happening. I know that you were organizing that. Could you give us just some more information on what you were doing for the Black Panther?
Yeah, so we were inspired by the Black Panther challenge that was happening around the country, and I kind of was just hoping that somebody would kind of pick up the mantle here in Jax and do it, and nobody really did. And then, so what I did was I partnered with a company called Directly2, which is kind of like a GoFundMe, but better because all your donations are tax-free. And we brought it here to Jax, and we were able to basically bring in 450 kids to go see Black Panther here in Jax.
Holy moly, man.
A huge showing.
That is a
kids.
Giant number of kids. That's awesome.
Yeah. It was a lot of kids. It was a little intimidating with all the kids, but they were all happy to see it, and it went pretty well. And we were able to get them to see the movie. We got them popcorn and a drink, and then we also gave them a Black Panther comic, which was honestly for a lot of them was a highlight because they got to see the movie and then they took the comic book and they got to enjoy that. And so, that's kind of how I got back involved with this Free Comic Book Day thing as well, is because I saw their reactions to the comics and I wanted to, provide more opportunities for them to get comics.
Man, if they were anything like me or any of my fellow co-hosts, I can only imagine the joy and shock of just that shock on their face when they opened up their first comic book. It's still,
right.
I still think about my first comic book and the impact it had on me when I opened it up and I was a part of this world.
Exactly, and that's what I want kids, especially from the African American community, to be able to feel like they can be a part of that community. The comic book community is a great one, and people are very comforting and caring. And so I wanted them to wanted them to have the opportunity, if they wanted, to be a part of that world. And a lot of them, after seeing Black Panther, are more interested in comic books and comic book heroes, and it was it was an opportunity for them to see something that they normally don't get. So.
And you know what, man? Here at the Short Box, that is one thing that we will always do our best to champion. Is just anyone or anything that helps spread that love of comic books and the culture. And like I said, man, hearing what I heard about the Black Panther screening initiative that you organized, and now I just happened to be scrolling through Facebook and I saw that you have another event that you're trying to get going, and that's and it aligns with what this episode is all about, Free Comic Book Day. Just that opportunity to go celebrate this unique holiday within the nerd community, among the many shops and the different places here in Jax that take part in it. So I see that you've got something set up for this Saturday, of course, at 11 to 2 at the Highland Public Library.
Yeah, the Highland Branch Library. And so, like you said, Free Comic Book Day is just this incredible day, especially for kids, to kind of go and get a free comic book. And when I was researching events, because my original idea was to take some kids from the community to one of the events and let them kind of hang out and enjoy it, I realized that there weren't any events on their side of town. There was one at the beaches, which has happened for years, and then there's also one in the South Mandarin Library. But there wasn't really one on the north side of town. There was a couple years ago one in like Riverside, but that's not even there. So wanted to have something that was a little bit closer to home. We spoke with the library about it, and they agreed to let us do something this year small at the Highlands branch. And they're like, if you put it on, we'll let you do it. And so, we just kind of took the mantle along with my wife and decided to go ahead and put something together for the kids on the north side. We're going to have comic books, free comic books from Coliseum of Comics, my home comic book store in Riverside. Going to help me provide some free comics.
Same here, man.
And then we're going to have I don't know if you know what a honey dripper is, but and some food.
Did you just ask me if I knew what a honey dripper was?
Not everybody calls it a honey dripper.
No,
Some people call it different things. But we're gonna have free honey drippers for the kids, free food. The library is gonna put on some events, especially for the younger kids, and then and music, and it's just gonna be a really good time. We're looking for some cosplayers to kind of come up and dress up and be out there as well. But we're going to have face painters and all that kind of stuff. So everybody, it's like a family event. Kids will be able to come out there and get free comic books, but just hang out and have music and have some food. And so we're just trying to bring Free Comic Book Day to the community and let kids, have an opportunity to have fun and hang out. So.
Man, that just brought like a single tear to my eye, man. Anytime someone goes out of their way to do the nerd lord's work, I just get filled with emotion. Man.
You got to spread the nerd gospel, It's important.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely, yeah. Obi. And you know what? I know there's a good number of our listeners who dabble in cosplay and do really well. So I'm hoping that when they hear this episode and they hear that call to arms, that they'll reach out. Is there a way for anyone, whether they want to cosplay at this event or even just volunteer or just be involved in any way, can they reach out to you in any way or form?
Yeah, there's multiple ways to reach out to me. You can email me at oumunna@gmail. That's oumunna@gmail. Or you can hit me up on Instagram or Twitter, King Obi, on both of those, and that's KINGOBI. Any way you reach out to me, or Facebook Messenger, Obi Umana, just let me know that you want to come out, and we'll just reach out to me and we'll set that up. We'd love to have as many characters as possible out there. You don't have to stay for the whole time. You can stay for like 30 minutes or you stay for an hour, but I think it'd be cool to have as many different characters. And, really the thing about comic books, especially for kids, is really like igniting their imagination and like letting them see that they can be more than what is right in front of them. And so we love for kids, we love for people to come out and kind of support this the best way they can. So.
Absolutely, man, and we'll definitely do our best to spread that awareness and hopefully get some folks out there dressed up and helping out the kids. I do want to give a shout out to Coliseum of Comics. I had Brett Ricketts from the beach location on the show earlier to talk about what they were doing, but shout outs to Jonathan and Amber over there in the Riverside location.
Yeah, that's the home store. So
Absolutely,
and they
man.
always, with the Black Panther thing, they helped me get the comics that we talked about giving out there. And they've always been like, really helpful to try to make everything happen that I've tried to do. And, those are my guys. So
Absolutely, man.
I definitely want to shout them out.
Absolutely. I know when the news broke that Coliseum had bought the Superhero Hive and the Superhero Beach, a lot of people were kind of concerned that, a corporate kind of comic shop company wasn't going to be that involved with the community, but I've been really happy to hear that Jonathan and Amber are still holding it down for the community and taking part in these events like this.
Yeah, and I think it's smart that they kept them. I think
big time,
you
yeah.
don't know if they were going to do that or not, but I think that's like your local bartender. They know you when you walk in, and they make you feel comfortable. They answer questions, and I think them keeping them was a great sign that they were serious about being a part of the community, and I think seeing what they've done so far, like you said, I've been very impressed with that.
Absolutely. Obi, man, I hope I get an opportunity to run into you at the Superhero Riverside one of these days so I could shake your hand in person
I'm sure
and say,
we will. One of these Wednesdays, I'm sure you'll run into me there.
Oh, absolutely, man. So once again, for our listeners out there, another event taking place for Free Comic Book Day that you can stop by and enjoy. And it's with a good cause, too. It's all about the kids. I mean, as much fun as it is to go to these different comic shops and engage in that nerd kind of pub crawl and get free books and get discounted items, it is nice to support the next generation of readers, and I got to give you props, Obi, for this. So it'll be at the Highlands Public Library. That's May 5th, of course, from 11 to 2. If you are a cosplayer or someone is interested in volunteering, hit up Obi at those links he sent you, and I'll even have this reposted on the Facebook pages too. So, Obi, awesome. I appreciate it, man. I told you to be quick and short, but I wanted to make sure that the message got out there.
Thank you so much for having me on, man. I appreciate you reaching out, and obviously much respect to Ryan for connecting us. But yeah, thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate what you guys do for the nerd community. So
absolutely, man. Keep it up, and like I said, I'm sure we'll run into each other sooner than later.
Sure enough.
All right, man. Take care.
Hello?
John, hey, it's Botter.
Am I the fifth caller? I was really trying to win that car.
That is definitely something the short box is missing, is random caller giveaways. We could do it like the what we should start doing is like how DC did, and even Marvel, where they had the you had to call into those hotline numbers to decide the fate of Robin, and who they have for Marvel. I forgot who they did it for Marvel, but they did it too.
Yeah, it's what was it, like 90 cents a call? I mean,
ridiculous, man.
Cash.
Goodness gracious. Thankfully, I didn't find those ads, and I wasn't reading those comics until much later, because as a kid I can see me running up that phone bill. But John, Free Comic Book Day is upon us. I'm sure that you and your shop and your workers and such have been pretty busy getting everything set up.
It's one of those things you see on the calendar and oh yeah, it's coming. It's the first Saturday in May. And it's like plenty of time. and now, it's like I know exactly how much time there is.
I bet, man.
It's not yet May yet. It's not yet May. No, trust me, it's May. It's April 30th now. It's May.
Basically, right? And you know what? I was talking to Brett and Ben earlier today, and they were both like, "Yeah, we just we don't have like set working hours now. It's just like get this stuff done before Saturday morning. That's our working hours."
It's the can to can't, and you hope that the list of the things that you didn't get to, either you didn't know about or they weren't that big.
Absolutely. John, you represent Altered Egos Comic Shop out there in Orange Park. That address is I always forget the road name, but whenever I see it, I know it. What's the address again for the Altered Egos comic shop?
We're at 400 Madison Avenue, Suite 106. We're right behind the Advanced Auto Parts. A lot of people seem to know it's like, oh, you're right by Ridgeview High School. Yes, we're on the same road that you go down to see Ridgeview High School. Which honestly, before I had the shop, I had no again, Advanced Auto Parts made more sense to me.
Yeah.
Or what makes more sense to me is like if you're coming from Orange Park Mall and you see Nightbox, it went one road too far.
See, I always remember just turn right at the Domino's. When I hit the Domino's, turn right. Ridgeview. I
try to stay blind to those Domino's, man. I got ketchup and cardboard at home, so I don't need it.
John, what's going on? What can people expect at Altered Egos Comic Shop this Saturday for Free Comic Book Day? What do you guys got going on?
Well, it turns out we've got free comics. I don't know if you've heard.
Color me surprised. Yes. I did not know that's okay.
Yeah, spread the word. So we've got free comics. We're going to be running some sales. We're going to have our bagged and boarded backstock is going to be 50 cents a piece. Our trade paperbacks on the shelves are going to be 15% off. Statues in the case, 15% off.
Oh, I love statue sales. Love them.
Well, you should also make sure this is not the only day that you come to, a comic shop. I think this is a great opportunity for folks in our area and probably some other metropolitan areas to make the rounds. Make a crawl, make a geek pub crawl out of this.
Absolutely.
I'm not advocating drinking and driving or anything, but there are like 10 shops, not counting the big box players, like Ollie's or Barnes and Nobles, that are comic shops that are doing free comic book day.
Mm-hmm.
And I expect more, in the coming year. But North Florida is kind of, blessed in that sense.
Absolutely.
That if you're willing to, put in the drive time, and really it's free comic book day, there's going to be crowds. There's going to be lots of people. So you pick your first one, and you're going to be swimming through people. But later in the afternoon, it kind of dies down a bit. And, I know that, we try to do what we can to make sure that everybody has comics all day long. And so, we limit, what you can get. Other people limit, how many of the 50 plus free titles that there are going to be. This would be your opportunity if you're like a true collector and wanted all of the free comic book day offerings for this year.
Mm-hmm.
Just hit 5 stores. If they're giving away 5 each, boom, 50 books right there.
Absolutely. And
at least that's the way math worked when I was in school. They got that new math today. My nephew tried to teach it to me. I'm like, no, that's not how that works.
And I get made fun of for my Cree grammar, but for a minute I was like, wait a minute, does that extend to Cree math too? Crap. John, so you've had an opportunity to take a look at, kind of flip through some of the free comic books, right?
Yeah.
What do you recommend for some people to check out? I know there's some, the big 2, and if you include Image, the big 3 have some pretty solid titles coming out. But I know that there is a lot of independent publishers and just kind of smaller publishers, when you can juxtapose to the bigger ones. So what would you recommend for people to check out?
Well, I don't know that. It's one of these things where everybody's. And judging by the number of books offered, everybody's taste is so eclectic. There's quite literally something for everybody there. I read The Barrier.
Brian K. Vaughan.
Yeah, the new Marcus Martin.
Gorgeous art. Gorgeous.
Vaughan book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's a head scratcher there. They've solicited it as not going to be collected ever. So it's going to be a 5-issue run. It's going to be in the 5 weeks of May. The first one is supposed to come out, I want to say this Wednesday, and then each one comes out the week after. So after you come, and then you're going to have the free comic book day one, which is a copy of the first one.
Okay.
So if you go, you pick that one up, you like it, then you've got an excuse to come back every week for the month of May. And May is one of those special months that not only do we get free comic book day at the beginning of it,
mm-hmm.
but we get 5 new comic book days this month. this week event, baby.
You are right, and I mean we've got two big movies coming out that would appeal to the same crowd: Deadpool and Han Solo. So, and it's my birthday month too, so I've got special reason to love May above all other months.
I don't know if you can find time between all. If you have only chance to see one movie this year, go see Avengers.
Oh, big time! That's all. That is
you have the
all
chance
I've
to
talked
see
about.
two. Quiet Place is awesome too.
Man,
I think that also.
John, this is why I like you, John. Like I don't talk to you enough. I loved Quiet Place, and I did not know there was such a group of people that were not fans of it. I enjoyed that movie a lot. You know, Jim from Office killed it. Like, I need him as Reed Richards.
That's what I had heard after that, was that the prevailing, thing out in the fanverse is that when they reboot the Fantastic Four to the big screen, they want him and his wife, Emily Blunt, to play Reed and Sue. And
that'd be so awesome.
I'd watch that movie. I would totally watch that movie.
Damn,
because,
that's really good.
The Quiet Place, it's a family movie. And actually, John Krasinski...
In the darkest way possible.
I think that, it's a tense movie.
Yeah.
In first 5 minutes, you realize what kind of movie you're in for. But it is a family movie. It's a movie about heroes. It is a movie about hope. If anybody should be tapped to play Superman next, it's John Krasinski.
That is... Man, absolutely, John. So let me ask you, because this has been kind of my standard question across everyone I've interviewed for this episode, and only because it just aligns up right. We would have gotten Avengers this weekend, which would align for Free Comic Book Day, which is what I think Marvel does a really good job with. They usually have a movie that aligns on the same weekend as Free Comic Book Day, and they'll have their Free Comic Book Day offering as the new relaunch or ties in with whatever title. This year is no different.
Well, Joe Fields is the original guy that started Free Comic Book Day out in California. And he originally coincided it 16 years ago, to launch with the first Spider-Man movie.
Wow. I did not know that background.
Crazy?
Huh. Damn, it's just kind of... interesting. So, I mean, this year's no different. We would have gotten Avengers on the same weekend as Free Comic Day. Of course, Marvel bumped it up a week, which is awesome. That just gives us more time. But I was wondering if there has been any influx that you've noticed as far as like foot traffic, of whether it's new readers or people who've never stepped foot in a store, or just of Avengers questions, Thanos questions, people trying to find that merch, the story arcs, etc.
Not as of yet. I think we need to. Right now, it's the faithful they're going to see that, and then soon we're going to have them go out and evangelize. And as good as Avengers is, and I think it's fantastic. They kind of tease it to you if you watch the opening logo when they show you the Marvel Studios logo. The I and the O changed to a 1 and a 0, letting you know that this has been going on for 10 years. And a lot of these movies that they've been going on, you can step in and out of and not have a problem. This is the first one where they cut out all the fluff. It's nothing but action and drama. There are not really any slow, quiet moments, even with the horrible, things that have happened. You're expected to know what's going on in there. Now, you can sit back and just be dazzled. I mean, Thanos alone and Thanos emoting, Justice League should hang its head in shame. I mean, I was kind of on the fence with everybody griping about its special effects. I'm like, there were still some good moments. After I saw this, I was like, for shame, Justice League, for shame. Somebody need to take you to the woodshed, because that was wrong. Have you seen what these guys have done? Agreed.
Okay, fair enough.
I think that we haven't seen that where you're going to have, the faithful go back out and evangelize and start taking, their mom, their sister, everybody to these, and then they get the bug, and it's like, well, I want to know more about this. Well, they make comics for these things, and I've been reading them for all of this time. Would you like to read one? Let me take you to a store. But well, I did want to take this opportunity, because I'm on the Shortbox podcast. It's like I can almost hear the echo of all the voices, all the listeners that are out there. And I just
all 5 of them.
I would be remiss if I didn't take this opportunity to just share this one thing about Free Comic Book Day. And
hit it, John.
It's about comics and comic evangelism and new readers. And it really is about new readers. And I've heard people say in the past that, Free Comic Book Day is not for regular customers. It is not for your Wednesday pull customers. It's not for your collectors. It's not for these things. And I would disagree with that on several points. I mean, you have sales and you have other things to take advantage of. Yeah, there's a lot of people. Go later in the day. It'll thin out. But I think that what we need to do, as, dyed-in-the-wool comic fans, of course, I'm speaking for you other, dyed-in-the-wool comic fans, because I'll be behind the counter, But if you are a dyed-in-the-wool one, somebody who isn't. Somebody that has never been to one of these before. And if not this year, then next year, make it your mission to take somebody to this, introduce somebody to comics. Or when you go to get your free comics and you're going to only be able to get, 3 to 5, get one with someone else in mind. Like I said, there's a comic out there for everybody. Introduce somebody to comics. It doesn't cost you anything because it's Free Comic Book Day. It could help so much. I mean, not just the industry and help that. It could help that person. It's open up this new idea, this new avenue, this new escapism. I mean, look at you. You read comics and you learn Cree. I mean, it really expands people's vocabulary. Some
say I was born with that Cree ability, but I'm looking at my parents sideways now, but that's fine. John, between you and what Brett was talking about earlier on in this episode, and every other comic shop owner I've had the opportunity to talk to, man, it's been really humbling to, as long as I've been collecting comic books and going Free Comic Book Days, it's really humbling to look at it now from a perspective of giving back and expanding the culture with people that are either too scared to go to a shop or just don't know about it, etc. I definitely think what you're saying is a great call to arms to everyone that's already in the know, that knows how to maneuver among comic books and shops, to share that love and that passion with someone. Because like you've said before, and we've had these conversations before, there is a comic book for everyone. There truly is if you look hard enough.
I know that when people think of comic books and comic book shop, there's an image that comes to mind. And the only way that you're going to break that image is through the diversity of readership. Okay. So having, a diverse number of minds demanding a diverse set of stories is going to change everything up and down. So the only way that you're going to change the party is by attending the party.
Agreed, man. And I couldn't put it any better way, whether it's in English or Cree. So, John, one more time, I want to thank you so much for dialing in. I almost missed.
See you Saturday? You going to make the crawl? I can't because I'm kind of busy that day. But
man,
I'm going to see you.
I got invited to a Kentucky Derby party that I am obligated. I know I've never done it. It's a new experience.
Dude, you're going to lose your comic card for that one.
I know. I have a very limited window, so I'm going to try to make my rounds as best as I can. But I'm already obligated. But that doesn't mean that I won't be around a few shops. So, but regardless, man, I'm glad that we found time to have you call in. I almost missed you, and I want to say this to anyone listening. John brought up a good point, and I brought it up as well, and I just want to reiterate, there's a lot of comic shops here in Jacksonville and in just the Northeast Florida area, period. I mean, when I built out this list of all the shops I wanted to talk to, there was some that I was missing. There was some that it's really hard to kind of coordinate a lot of schedules and such. So if you don't see one of your shops or a shop here in Jax in this episode, doesn't mean that you shouldn't go out there and explore and see what they've got to offer on Free Comic Book Day. Like John said, it's a great time to participate in this epic nerd pub crawl. So, John, one more time, Altered Egos Comic Shop. It's over there in Orange Park area. What was the address again?
400 Madison Avenue. You just plug it into your browser, Altered Egos Comics, Orange Park. You can also find us at goaltered.com. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/goaltered.
And only because I respect what you guys have got going on Altered Egos, you guys also have your own podcast that dabbles in a little more specific comic shop talk, inside baseball when it comes to the new titles and et cetera. I think you guys do a fantastic job of that kind of category when it comes to comic book podcasts. So if you want to plug in that too, man.
You can find us, wherever you find your podcast, the Altered Egos Comics podcast. After a hiatus, we are back.
Fantastic.
And it's a retailer's perspective on new comics of the week and the comic book industry.
Which, after all these interviews I've had, I have a newfound respect for retailers, and it's really cool to kind of hear how you guys view the titles and the different aspects of the business side. So, fantastic stuff, John. Thank you so much, man. It's a pleasure, always a pleasure talking to you, brother.
Hey, I'm looking forward to seeing you, man.
Absolutely, man.
If not Saturday, sometime soon.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely on that one. All right, John, you have a good day, and best of luck to you on Free Comic Book Day.
Yeah, man. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Bye.
How's Comics and Games?
Hey, Tony, this is Botter.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, not much, man. Hey, you got a couple minutes to talk Free Comic Book Day?
Yeah, I can do that.
Awesome. Yeah, man.
So she can run the front while I babble.
Sweet. Yeah, man, you are my last interview of the day, but not, definitely not last not least, whatever the phrase is. I wanted to give you a chance to tell us and the listeners in the Shortbox Nation what House of Comics and Game has planned for Free Comic Book Day.
All right. You want me to start rambling, or?
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. Go ahead. Give us the spiel.
All right. So for Free Comic Book this year at House of Comics and Games, we'll be opening the doors at 10 a.m.
Nice.
Or slightly earlier. First 50 people through the door will get Free Comic Book Day drawstring bags filled with all kinds of goodies from inside of the store. We'll also have over 60 new titles available for Free Comic Book Day, and kind of going above and beyond the regular Free Comic Book Day list. DC Nation Zero comes out this week, 25-cent book. We'll have 250 copies of that also available on Free Comic Book Day that will be adding to the Free Comic Book Day list.
That's going to be a hot commodity.
Yes. So we'll have that going on. We have 20% off store-wide sale going on. We have 2 food trucks coming out. We have Tiki's of Atlantic Beach as well as Mother Truck and Pizza. They'll be setting up ready to serve starting at 11. So we'll have food going on. We got the Kentucky Derby will be on the TVs later on in the afternoon. So want to come by, grab a drink, and watch the Kentucky Derby. There'll be plenty of people here with their big hats ready to play.
Tony, and, I'm sorry to interrupt. I don't think I would have ever imagined being able to watch a Kentucky Derby at a comic shop, much less on Free Comic Book Day at that.
And then it also falls on Cinco de Mayo.
So, yeah.
So
Tequila
we'll
shots.
Celebrating Cinco de Mayo as well. So it'll be just more fun here at that. We have 3 local artists. They'll be setting up. They'll be doing sketches and stuff for the kids. We'll have face painter, all kinds of fun stuff like that going on. We're going to party all day long from
that's what it sounds like, man.
10 a.m. till whenever the last people leave for the day.
Awesome.
We're not going to have set hours for the day. We're just going to kind of run with it. Last year we had people here till about 9:30. As long as people keep trickling in to get comic books and come to hang out and party with us, we'll keep the doors open, keep the lights on, and keep giving away free stuff. We got there's enamel pins this year. Marvel has a DC pin, Batman.
I'll say, damn, Marvel's really going all out.
DC has a Spider-Gwen metal pin. Or DC has the Batman pin. Marvel has the Spider-Gwen pin. There we go. Brain's finally starting to work with me. There's Incredible Hulk, Ragnarok Hero Clicks. They'll be given away. We'll have got quite a few of the Bloody Lion Cat from Saga Funko Pops that are exclusive for Free Comic Book Day.
Nice.
And be selling those at a discounted price. We'll have balloons for the kids. We'll have stickers for the kids. We have the Free Comic Book Day pins. We'll have so much stuff going on, and
Tony,
we're just gonna keep partying and having fun all day long. And
do you know what the House of Comics and Games Free Comic Book Day sounds like? It's like when one of your friends back in high school would give you a flyer for their house party because their parents are going to be there, and on the flyer it said something like "Start time 9 end time until the police shut us down. Like, this is what it sounds like. You're throwing.
That's pretty much how we plan on running it. You know? Once they make us stop, then we're going to stop. But it's
I like it, man. 20% off sales.
We had a giant party last year. We had a few thousand people through the door last year.
Nice.
And we expect to have even bigger and better showing this year. More stuff, more free comics than we've ever had before. More other free stuff than we had before.
Fantastic, man.
Plenty of stuff for people to come out. There's some awesome new books for whatever you like. There's DC's signature book for this year is the DC Superhero Girls. So great book for kids. Great for any kids, especially for young girls getting into comic books. There's Riverdale free comic book this year. So it's got, I think it has Jughead on the cover if I remember right. So for multiple facets there for any of the Jughead fans and Riverdale fans. There's a new Brian K. Vaughan book from Image that is just the craziest book you could imagine. It's Brian K. Vaughan, writer of Saga and Why the Last Man, and Paper Girls. This is his new book, and it's just crazy. It's been reading all the free comic book day books all week, trying to make sure I can let everybody know what all the good stuff is. And and that was one of the craziest books that I've ever read, and
it's really good.
Definitely want to grab a hold of. Marvel is rebooting everything again, and it kicks off with Amazing Spider-Man, and you get that for free on Free Comic Book Day. So every publisher has some really awesome stuff this year. It's going to be.
Yeah, that Spider-Man one is high on my list, definitely, because Ryan Otley's doing the artwork on that. So.
Yep, Ryan Otley from Invincible is on the art, and that just makes it that much better to me, being a huge Invincible fan.
Yeah.
And Ryan Otley is the perfect art style for Amazing Spider-Man.
So, Tony, you guys have been open for how long? Maybe just under 2 years?
About a year and a half.
Okay, Chelsea, just about under 2 years. For anyone that's not aware of where you guys are located, because I usually just tell people, down St. John's by the beach area, or Beach Boulevard by St. John's. But I mean, where can people find you guys?
We're located on the corner of Beach and St. John's Bluff in the Winn-Dixie Plaza, and then more specifically, we're directly behind the Arby's, out in front of Winn-Dixie.
Yep, got it. So have you seen Avengers Infinity War? Since we were talking about, you mentioned one of the free comic book days is Marvel's relaunch of Avengers. Have you seen the movie yet?
I sadly have not.
You're not alone, man. Trust me.
I was looking through the schedule, and we had International Tabletop Day, so we had tons of people here on Saturday, and with Free Comic Book Day next weekend, so I know I'm not going to get to see it then, and then Savannah Mega Comic Con is the following weekend, so I'm like, now we're into Deadpool weekend before I'm probably going to have any free time to actually go see it. So when I came in Saturday, the first time I was like, all right, just hit me with all the spoilers now, because there's no way I'm going to make it.
You are a brave man, actually taking the spoiler hits like willingly. I got to give you props, man. But there's so much
because I knew it was going to be so long before I was going to get to see it. I'm like,
probably end up forgetting.
There's no way I'm going to make it this long, and someone's not going to ruin it for me. So
that is the stakes that our comic shop owners take, that we just don't appreciate you guys enough for. You guys probably get bombarded with spoilers and things you don't want to know, but you end up having to take it
constantly. So that's why I knew that there was no way I was going to make it to when I get to actually see the movie to not have it ruined for me. So I'm like, go ahead and go.
Has there been any noticeable influx of new readers or people who've never stepped foot in a shop but want to find the Infinity Gauntlet story or any Thanos? Have you gotten a bunch of Thanos questions?
Quite a few Thanos questions. Shockingly, the one that still keeps driving customers in is the Flash TV show.
Wow, really?
More than anything else, I get tons of people all the time coming in looking for Flash stuff because they want to know more about what's happening on the TV show. Like Black Panther had a small little spike. Thanos has had a small spike, but the big one still
is the Flash TV show.
Archie for the Riverdale stuff, and then Flash for because of the Flash show.
You know, that Archie Riverdale show still surprises me by how many people watch it and who watches it. Like, it doesn't seem like you see Riverdale, and I saw the commercials, and I was one of those naysayers. It's like, oh, what? This seems like a teen drama. It'll probably be like, teenage girls or teenagers that watch this. But no, I was at the gym the other day, and like these two like just most like broy dudes that you could ever meet were talking about Riverdale, and that's not like a knock on them. I was just really surprised to hear mentions about Riverdale from just. It seems like anyone. Like my sister watches it, and I've got people at work that talk about it. So
it's a guilty pleasure of mine. I'm not going to lie.
I won't lie.
It just
because
I knew people were going to ask me questions about it. So I'm like, okay, let me check this out. And my wife I knew it was something that she would enjoy, and so I was like, I'll watch the first episode or two with her, and then I'll just stop watching it. And 2 seasons later.
You blink, you got a beard, you don't know what day it is. You're like, oh damn, this has been 2 seasons. That's funny. Tony, man, I appreciate you taking time. I know that you are at the shop right now working, but it sounds like House of Comics and Games is going to be a really fun time. I mean, you mentioned 20% sale, 2 food trucks, you'll have local artists, and you'll have the Kentucky Derby on the TV. Like, that is awesome, man. So for our listeners out there, this is just another shop, another event on your pit stop, on your nerd free comic book day pub crawl, House of Comics and Games. Tony, can you give us that address one more time?
The address is 11160 Beach Boulevard, and we're in Unit 135, and it's right on the corner of Beach and St. John's Bluff, in the Winn-Dixie Plaza, and directly located behind the Arby's.
Absolutely. And if you stop in House of Comics and Games and you find Tony, shake this man's hands and thank him for all the spoilers he's got to take on a daily basis, because that's what these comic shop owners do, supporting us and giving us these awesome shops to go visit. Tony, thank you so much, man. I'll let you get back to it. And, best of luck to you, brother.
All right. Thank you much. Y'all have a great night.
You too.